Hi everybody and welcome to the World of Micah. Today we're going to be finding everything that has to do with the Universal Classic Monsters here at Universal Studios Florida. You're going to get to tag along now. Let's take a closer look. Now this was the former home of the Beetlejuice Rockin' Graveyard Review Show. The only thing that really remains is this fountain here, which is a tie-in to the Classic Monsters because the Classic Monsters were in the show with the ghost with the most. I love that you can find old classic movie posters here with Basil Rathbone and Bela Lugosi and the Black Cat. Classic Universal horror film featuring some of the well-known classic horror actors like Bela Lugosi. And they're paying tribute to the Mummy here outside of the Sahara Traders gift shop, which they've transformed into a pop-up store giving tribute to the Classic Monsters. And leading up to the store, there are many different Classic Monster movie posters. And this is what I'm talking about, the tribute to the creatures of the night. A limited time retail store. Now I've given a full tour of this store, but we're gonna go in just because that is the subject of today. And since the Mummy is down for refurbishment, they decided to bring this limited time store here, which is okay by me because I'm a mega fan of the Classic Monsters. And this is definitely a place to stop if you wanna pick up some items from your favorite Universal Classic Monsters. Plenty of photo ops in here. All kinds of merchandise. And there are many different photo ops here. As you can see, this is barefoot because most mummies are. And this is the Boris Karloff mummy. Karloff played several monsters and in a lot of different classic monster films. These t-shirts are pretty awesome, and they do have some Funko. These are pins. These are actually enamel pins, and the size of these enamel pins, as you can see, pretty impressive. That's one monster that we don't really see a whole lot of, the Invisible Man. This Dracula always reminds me of Fright Night. Just doesn't have the look of Bela Lugosi, but I don't think that's the look they were going for. One of my favorite classic monsters, the Wolfman here. And we have the monster up here and the Bride of Frankenstein. Some Frankenstein monster and bride purses here. These are bags. And then this, the Frankenmold. Witness the horror for only $6. You can take home this gray option of the Frankenstein monster. Now I have a green Frankenstein monster, the same mold from Halloween Horror Nights from years past. They also have smaller posters here of the Classic Monsters. And the NECA figures, which if you guys have never seen these, they are pretty impressive for the price. About $40 here at Universal. You can take this home. Interchangeable heads and get your own display of the Frankenstein monster. They also have the Wolfman in a black and white version. And since I gave the full tour, they have changed this little area dedicated to the Phantom just a little bit. They've added more props in here, and they have a Phantom up top. Looks a little voodoo to me. And the organ here. I was hoping we were gonna get the Lon Chaney look of the Phantom, but this is their little take, kind of like what they did with Dracula. And if you're curious to which one is my favorite, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Gill Man, has always been my favorite classic monster. And if you're a fan of the Mummy, a few of the mummies here. Pretty awesome, right? And now let's dissect everything inside the Universal Horror Makeup Show that has to do with the Classic Monsters. This is basically the hub of all things Classic Monsters here at Universal. Now, it's no secret inside this theater, there are many displays and life cast and props and photo stills, behind the scenes, sketches and scripts. Look at this bust of Mr. Lon Chaney. Also goes to talk about Mr. Jack Pierce, who was involved with a lot of the makeup for the classic monsters. There's Jack and Karloff together building the Frankenstein monster. You can see the difference on how the makeup was applied to create that iconic creature. Take a look at the boots here. Phantom of the Opera. At one point, this show was called the Phantom of the Opera's horror makeup show. It was the gory, gruesome, and grotesque horror makeup show. They used Phantom of the Opera's name to tie in the show. Here's some molds from Lon Chaney Jr. when he portrayed the Wolfman. Now, if you guys know the answer, please comment below. What 4 monsters did Lon Chaney Jr. portray? Comment below if you know the answer. Here's another display of how the makeup looked on Lon Chaney. And then moving on to talking about Mr. Bud Westmore, who took over the makeup department. And also a nice display for my favorite classic monster, the Gill Man, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Now this lady right here, I feel like she needs her own plaque. That is Melissa Patrick. She designed the Gill Man. You can see her here working from sketches to an actual mold of the creature. If it wasn't for her, we would not know this iconic creature. Now to me, Alfred Hitchcock does fall in line with the classic monsters because he did film on location at Universal. And this movie is classic enough, Psycho, that I believe Norman and Mrs. Bates could potentially be a classic monster themselves. And then you have the Munsters, spelt Munsters, from 1964 to 1966. Rob Zombie is actually doing a new film of the Munsters. I'm very excited to see what his vision is for this. Now down below, this is For It Came From Outer Space, and This Island Earth displays here. They actually show a clip of this guy inside the horror makeup show. And then you have a list of the Universal Classic Monsters here from 1931 to 1956. 40 horror films, 3 Dracula films, 7 Frankenstein films, 4 Mummy films, and 3 Invisible Man films, 3 Wolfman films, and 3 films starring, well, featuring the creature from the Black Lagoon. Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and The Creature Walks Among Us. Now, rarely do you see a film about one of the classic monsters in the making of one of the classic monsters. This film, The Man of 1,000 Faces, starring James Cagney. If you're a fan of Lon Chaney and want to know exactly what he went through to create some of his iconic creatures and monsters, you'll definitely want to check out this film. Now, does anybody remember back in the day when the Phantom of the Opera would actually pop up from this curtain and disappear? I do. It's no longer here. It's no longer an element of the show, but the curtain's still here. Now on this side, we move into different monsters from a different time. Not the classic monsters, but to me, some of these guys are classics in their own right. Jaws, obviously. Jurassic Park. My buddy Michael Myers. Chucky. I don't consider the Grinch a classic monster, but we have American Werewolf in London. Different films over here, and then we move into the Universal's Halloween Horror Nights monsters, which these guys are slowly but surely becoming a classic. And here's a classic right here.
Hey, how you doing there, gorgeous?
Good to see ya.
Oh, it's always good to be seen.
I didn't even say your name 3 times. It's like you knew I was here.
It's a gift. All right.
Good to see you, BJ.
I know. Say hi
And not only inside the horror makeup show do they pay tribute to the classic monsters, but on the outside as well. A lot of makeup photos, behind the scenes photos. The Wolfman. You can see Bela Lugosi here, even. Miss Patrick down here. I love that they pay tribute to her. Jack Pierce. See, this is great. Paying tribute to Millicent Patrick. I love her. She created my favorite monster. And there's more of a display here. And I love the mask they have up here. If you guys know which mask this is, which character this is, comment below. I always love to point this out. And if I'm gonna mention this guy, see if you can name this guy as well. They're from the same. See, there's the Lon Chaney that I know, the Phantom of the Opera. Amazing. More makeup displays down here. Some life casts. I love these life casts because it's actually a mold of their face. And that's how they create some of the iconic makeup of these monsters. And obviously we have to visit the Universal Studios Classic Monsters Cafe today. And I'm not kidding when I say this is my favorite place to eat on property. Now I have filmed this place several times, given full tours, but I have to do another one today because that's what we're doing. As soon as you walk in, Frankenstein monster greets you, as does the smell of barbecue. It's the one thing I love about this place. It always smells like barbecue. And on the opposite side is the Wolfman. And as you walk in, my goodness, any fan of the classic monsters would feel like they stepped into their very own classic monster theme park. The detail in here is incredible. The theming and the food is actually pretty good. If you guys can see on the menu here, you can go ahead and pause the screen. That way you guys can read everything they have. And these are the prices. A lot of different options. I recommend the smoked sausage. I also like what they call the vampire. A lot of good options here. And the sculptures in here are done by makeup artist Tom Savini. I'm sure you guys know Tom Savini's work. Tom Savini did all the smaller ones here. I'm not sure who did the large sculptures. It might have been Savini as well, but there's no plaque for it. But I know for a fact he did these. Now here inside the Monster Cafe, there are different kinds of dining you can do. Swamp dining, where you can pay tribute to the Gill Man. Everything in this area pays tribute to my favorite Universal Classic monster. There's the Gill Man's chair, the one he was sitting on set. I just realized they have the Rita, which is the boat from the creature, here on the wall. And also, in this area, you have the Wolfman as well. The Wolfman is in the swamp area, which I can see that. I can see him lurking around. You know, it's a little smoky and swampy. The Wolfman's chair up here has some remnants of his hair. He's shedding a little bit. And then we move on into space dining, which, as you guessed it, makes you feel like you've completely transformed into a classic sci-fi film, such as This Island Earth, which are some of the creatures they have in this area. I love the ray gun display they have here and the UFO. I wish they would pay tribute to Ed Wood. Ed Wood did a lot of sci-fi films, like Plan 9. Look at this. Abbott and Costello go to Mars. That's amazing. These old lobby cards are amazing. And I like how the window makes it look like you're looking into the depths of the unknown. But look out! There's a giant spider up above. Actually, we're being taken over by giant spiders. And this was also shot in Florida, Jacksonville and the surrounding areas. And Rico Browning reprised his role of the Gill Man for this. It's rare to see a Creature Walks Among Us bust, but here it is. right here, the third installment of the Creature of the Black Lagoon franchise. And then as you move on the other side of the restaurant here, you have Crypt Dining, which the first monster they pay tribute to in here is the Mummy. A lot of bad glares in here though. And not just the Mummy, but every film that had to do with the Mummy. It's pretty cool. The more you look around, the more you'll find more details. Look at the Mummy's chair here, it's all wrapped up. And they did give the Invisible Man a small little section. I'll take it. This is one of my favorites. He's so eccentric in this film, as well as the Phantom of the Opera. Get in a little section here. And then you move into Mansion Dining, which pays tribute to Dracula. And of course, his chair has to be upside down. And it does feel like you've stepped into Dracula's castle here. Now back in the day, they used to have a tribute to the Munsters over here. They had 1313 Mockingbird Lane. In this area, they have removed that. And then as you move further down the room here, you step into Frankenstein's lab. We have the monster's chair here. And we also pay tribute to the bride as well. This is probably my favorite section of this whole place. I know I'm a big fan of the creature, but who doesn't want to step into the laboratory of Dr. Frankenstein? And this is what I'm talking about. They have movie posters, but the details. Some of the scripts here. Now obviously this is mostly recreations. A few of the lobby cards and posters and everything are real posters, obviously. And the couch here pays tribute to the bride's hairstyle. And it's not just Karloff they pay tribute to, they also pay tribute to Glenn Strange and other characters who have played the Frankenstein monster. And while you eat your food here, you can watch some clips of old classic monsters. But like I said, this is my favorite place to eat on property. Love the classic monsters, and it helps that it's good food. It's actually really good food. Are you having fun today?
Yeah, it's spooky.
She's been tagging along with me today.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has been.
We got a few more things to see. Let's go. And our last spot's gonna be here on Hollywood Boulevard. They have a gift shop, the Five and Dime, which is the exit dump to Reborn Stuntacular. It's a nice store here that pays tribute to a lot of classic monsters. And as you walk in, you're greeted by another version of Dracula here. They have several different merchandise options here. Some of this stuff we've seen in other stores. They kind of rehash it. And the rest of the monsters are here as well. The Mummy, the Frankenstein monster, and the bride of Frankenstein. Now, if there was ever a prop I would want to take home, this would be it. The Gill Man. You can buy this, but I don't have the money. Well, maybe they've changed the rules. At one point you could purchase this. They had a price tag on it. I believe it was like $7,000. But if anybody has one just lying around, I'd like to donate it. Or I could do some monthly payments. I would love to have one. This is one of my favorite secrets along the exit ramp for the Universal Horror Makeup Show. There are classic movie posters all throughout this hallway. They also pay tribute to the Pantages Theater, which is what the Horror Makeup Show is inside of. A facade, a recreation of the famous Pantages Theater out in Hollywood, California. More posters here, and on the other side as well. Classic Dracula poster here. The Man Who Laughs, calling Dr. Death. Awesome, right? Love seeing classic movie posters. They have some trading pins here and magnets if you're into collecting those as well for the classic monsters, and some keychains here for the classic monsters. And a lanyard. Just noticed the lanyard there. That's cool, right? A lot of merchandise, a lot of statues, a lot of stuff for these monsters that we all love. And the very last stop of the day, I'll pop in here to Williams of Hollywood, the prop shop. See if they have anything for the classic monsters. Check these out. All different classic postcards here. Isn't that cool? These frame them. These are like old world cards.
Yeah.
E.T. There's also Pearl Walker.
Oh, here we go.
So I wrote down each description as much as I can so you know which one. Okay. Some hashtags, some don't.
Abby and I would love to have this in our house. Unfortunately, they do not sell this. More posters and prints in here. You never know what you're gonna find in this prop store. There's all kinds of different things in here. I like it. Mostly Halloween Horror Nights stuff, but every now and then you'll find something pertaining to the classic monsters. Will kind of pop out. Well, we came, we saw, we took care of business here today at Universal Studios, finding everything in this park that has to do with the classic monsters. There's a little bit of everything for everyone here in this park, especially if you're a fan of the classic monsters. But I think our adventure for today has come to an end. Which means it's time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the thumbs up button. The next time you're here at Universal, tell someone World of Micah sent you, and I will see you on the next adventure. Until then, stay weird. Goodbye.